Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than my usual work week in my life type videos. I don't even know if I can say that because I haven't made that many. As many of you know, I'm in this weird like post-grad transition, but if you've kept up with my last couple of videos, you might know that I started taking Accutane again, and I asked you guys if you'd want to see a video on it about like my experience with it in the past. I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself, but you guys said yes, and I've gotten a couple of DMs on Instagram about it, so that's what today's video is. I basically tried to outline everything on my notes so that I wouldn't get too like off the path at any point. I'm pretty sure I'm titling this video like I'm 22 and my skin's never been worse, and that's true, so that's been really fun for me. I've made a couple of videos in the past about my skin, and I think I even made one about my experience with Accutane. I haven't watched it back, but I'll leave it down below if you guys are interested. My skin has definitely taken a turn since that video. I do have a lot of before pictures to show you guys towards the end of the video when I get into a little bit more of like my personal journey versus just an overview of the medicine and my experience, if that makes sense. The last little disclaimer I wanted to make is that if I just like blatantly roast my skin and myself, like I'm only referring to myself, and I think if you have acne you understand, like it's so easy to be so incredibly harsh on yourself, but when I see my friends break out or see somebody else with bad skin, like I never think twice or think any less of them in terms of like beauty or personality or anything like that, obviously. So if I'm just like roasting myself, it's a coping mechanism, and like take it with a grain of salt. So yeah. So like I said, I mentioned that I was going back on Accutane in one of my weekend in my life vlogs probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I asked you guys if you'd want to see just like one big journey at the end, how it went the second time, or if you wanted me to break it up, and you guys said yes. So this is like the first part of my second journey of Accutane. Like I said, I think earlier in this video, I did take it in high school. I took it when I was 14 or 15, I want to say. I might have been like 14 turning 15, so it's been 7 years since I've taken it, give or take. So obviously like my hormones have changed, my skin has changed, my diet's changed, my life's changed, so much has changed, and I think that's why I'm doing the second round now. And all of the information that I'm talking about in this video is coming from the different dermatologists I've seen, the pharmacist, and then just like my personal experience, like reflection wise. So feel free to do your own research. This is just what my doctors have told me. The first thing I wanted to touch on is that Accutane doesn't actually exist anymore, which I didn't know until I went to the pharmacy to fill my prescription. My dermatologist didn't mention that to me. I guess they stopped making it, and now it's under different names. Like I'm technically taking Claravis. Wait, let me get it really quick. So like I was saying, Accutane doesn't actually exist anymore. I'm taking Claravis. I don't think this has any personal information on it. And this is like the actual ingredient here. You definitely can't see that. It doesn't matter. I'll put it on the screen. So the way that I understand that, it's basically like Accutane is this blanket term now, like kind of when you ask if someone has Motrin because you have a headache, but you actually could take like Tylenol or ibuprofen or like whatever that is. Claravis is under that Accutane umbrella. It just doesn't exist anymore. Even though it's technically Claravis, I'm just gonna say Accutane throughout this video because I think that that's the term that's more widely known, and it just like makes more sense, I think, in terms of like searchability, blah blah blah, whatever. The way that Accutane works is that main ingredient goes in and kind of dries out all of your oil production in your skin so that your pores are less like sticky and can't actually produce oil to cause you to break out, if that makes sense. And then I think the other thing that people think of when they think of Accutane is just the massive process that it takes to get approved, get started, keep your prescription going. So there's so many rounds of approval, especially if you're female. It's a lot harder to get approved than male. I also had a really hard time getting a prescription when I was younger for it. I remember really struggling to find someone to write a prescription for me when I was like 15 or whenever I took it. But when I went to the dermatologist this time, earlier this summer, the guy was pretty much like, yeah, your skin is honestly really bad. Like, let's just go straight into it, especially since you've already taken it. And that could be a factor too, that I've already taken it. I kind of like knew what I was getting myself into. But once you get approval, you have to enter this like database system. It's called iPledge. You go on and basically agree to these like pretty harsh terms about the medicine. So my dermatologist had to go back into the system and find my account from when I was 15 and reactivate it. So once you do that, you have to get blood tests every month to make sure your liver is functioning, pregnancy tests every month, and then you log on to that database and take a quiz every month before you pick up your prescription that kind of just like tests your knowledge on the medicine. So it's like questions about when you can take it, how often you can take it, blah, 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 blah. Like it's just a quiz to make sure you're kind of like on your A game, I guess. And kind of all of that is the process to getting the actual medicine. Popping in quickly while editing this, I realized that this wasn't super clear in the video. So if you're female, you have to pass a full cycle's worth of pregnancy test before you can start the medicine to really make sure that you're not pregnant before starting Accutane. So I had my initial dermatologist appointment in July, I think. So I had that appointment at the end of July. I had my first period cycle in the beginning of August, and then got my blood work done, wasn't pregnant. Then I had to wait another full cycle, so mine hit at like the end of August, early September. Finished that cycle, got my next pregnancy test, again, still not pregnant, and then I was finally able to get the medicine started. So that's why even though I started this process in July, I didn't start the medicine until like early September. So yeah. So the next thing I wanted to get into is why the medicine is so controversial. And I think that I know it's because of the side effects. Accutane has some really brutal side effects, honestly, and I think that is how it's marketed. That's probably why the actual version of Accutane was taken off the market. It's just because it got such a horrible rep. That's kind of how I understood what the pharmacist was saying. I don't know how true that is. I would say that the 3 symptoms that get tossed around the most for making this medicine so controversial are liver failure, depression, and then terminating pregnancy. And I don't want to harp on this too much because, like, again, you can do your own research. Everybody's different. Every body's different. Basically, Accutane processes through your liver, so you have to be really, really careful with taking such a strong medicine. I haven't been drinking alcohol at all, which as a 22-year-old in a new city with, like, happy hours and going out with friends has been a bit of a bummer. But I'll touch on that more later, I guess. But that's not too big of a symptom for me. Liver failure is not something I'm personally worried about. I don't have any like family history or medical history for that, and I do get tested every month to make sure my liver functions are fine, so I'm Gucci on that. And I'm really not going to touch on terminating pregnancy because everybody has their own opinion that's pretty much made up on that. But it's written all over the packages of the medicine, like, you will have massive birth defects. You basically sign away your life that, like, you will not get pregnant, and if you do, like, you will take appropriate actions, so to speak. Appropriate's not necessarily the right word, but, like, it's pretty laid out for you, and that, I don't know, that's just something to think about, I guess, if you are really, like, worried about becoming pregnant by accident. I personally am, like, not. So that's, again, not really a concern for me. But if you are concerned about that, like, don't take the medicine. And then the last one is depression. A lot of people experience really, really bad depression and suicidal thoughts. I never experienced that last time, so I'm not too worried about that. But obviously, if I started feeling that way, or if you're taking this medicine and feeling that way, stop taking it. Not worth it. So I think that those are the main 3 symptoms that really make this medicine controversial. Some of the less significant side effects, dry lips is the biggest one, I'd say. It's not really an issue, it's just annoying. Like, I need to put on chapstick every 30 minutes of every day, or I feel like my lips are going to fall off. GlossierBalm.com is my best friend. I have it everywhere. I have it at my desk at work. I have it in my purse. I have it by my bed. It's just like, that to me is not, it's annoying. It's not like a decision factor, I guess, for me. Last time I took the medicine, my back got pretty sore towards the end of it, just because you have oil in between the discs in your back, and as it started to dry out with every other oil gland in my skin, I started to get a sore back. But again, not that big of a deal for me. And then bloody nose. Every time I blow my nose, I like blow out blood. Not a lot, but still there. Again, kind of an annoyance, but it's nothing that I can't handle, I guess. Ding dong, it's me again, forgot to add more. So a couple other things that you can't do while you're on Accutane. My dermatologist didn't mention any of these, but I know it from the last time that I took it, and it's pretty common knowledge if you are like on the medicine, I guess. You're not supposed to wax or do laser to any part of your body because your skin gets so like thin, I guess, from the medicine. I don't know, that's not something that I normally do, so that's like easy for me to give up, I guess. Limiting sun exposure. You're definitely not supposed to take Accutane in the summer, again, because your skin gets so sensitive. But as you guys know, it's the fall now, so it's really not a big deal. I'm not spending a lot of time in the sun, but if I know that I'll be outside like for like a winery or something like that that I'm not drinking at, definitely wear sunscreen, stuff like that. And then you can't donate blood while you're on it, and then after for a certain amount of time depending on your dosage. So just more things to keep in mind, not like huge side effects or things that you can't do, but again, just good to know if you're taking it. A lot of my friends kind of struggle to understand why you'd put yourself through this, especially the like no drinking and like stuff like that, which sounds kind of stupid, but if maybe you're in a similar situation or I don't like, it's just like such a big part of being 22 for my lifestyle, I guess, is like going out with friends and doing things. And the easiest way for me to explain it is like the emotional side effects of having acne are so much worse than the physical side effects of Accutane and what I'm giving up on Accutane. If you don't have acne and you haven't experienced it, it kind of sounds dramatic, but it takes such an emotional toll on me, just like feeling so self-conscious all the time. I like really struggle to look people in the eye when I'm talking to them, when I'm like holding meetings at work. I feel like I just look so young because I'm breaking out, and I want these people to take me seriously and like them to focus on what I'm saying and not my skin. And I'm sure that they are, but it's all I can think about. So then I'm not performing best when I'm giving a presentation, or if I'm like meeting someone new and I'm at a bar, or you know, like going on a date, like I can't even enjoy it because I'm like, they're looking at my skin, they're looking at how much I'm breaking out, like they're probably comparing me to everybody else that they've gone on dates with, and they're like, why is she breaking out so much? And I know that that's not the reality, but even though it's not, like that's my reality and how I am viewing things, and it's exhausting. Like I said, like I have struggled with this for so long. I've wanted to go back on Accutane since I was probably a sophomore in college. I went through a really rough patch in the spring of my sophomore year of college, got a lot better that summer, and then it's kind of been downhill since. But I couldn't commit to the not drinking, I couldn't get to a dermatologist at school that easily, I couldn't do the monthly blood test, like it just, the timing wasn't right, and I didn't want to put my body in danger because I knew I couldn't not drink for 6 months in college. It just wasn't the culture of the school that I went to, and that's not to say like whatever, I'm not gonna like justify that. That's just like how my experience has been. So that kind of blended into like why I'm taking it, is just because I want this to be done with. It worked for me when I was 15. It worked really well for a couple years, but I was so young, and I think my hormones just shifted. My skin is different. It just like, it makes sense to me that I would need a second round a couple years later. So I'm hoping that this is the end all be all. I know that there's other options, but I've exhausted so much time and money trying them out already with my other dermatologist when I was younger. I'm allergic to so many topical creams that is not a good avenue for me. A lot of dermatologists will also just put you on an antibiotic for like a year or so to try to clear your skin. I personally don't really like that idea. It's just, it's not great for your body, and I know that that's hypocritical because Accutane's like kind of destroying your body at the same time. But I would rather take 6 months of this and be completely done than take an antibiotic for 2 years. And again, that's like totally a personal decision, but that's where I stand on it. I have tried that in the past, like short term, like a nice 30-day like antibiotic to just like try to kick everything out of your system. And it does work for a little bit for me, but it always comes back. It's never sustainable. And then again, you're just putting so much medicine in your body. I'd rather just do this once and be done with it. I'm not sure if I've shown before photos of my skin in this video yet. If I haven't, I'll put some up on the screen now. It just like, it hurts. It's uncomfortable. It's embarrassing for me. Like, I'm so unhappy with it, and I have the ability to change it, so why wouldn't I, is kind of my perspective. I'm 100% paying for it. I'm taking the time to go to the appointments. This is something that I want to do for myself so that I can just let go of it, and that's kind of my decision. And I think that if any of you are experiencing acne, like I'm sure you can relate to that. Lastly, I want to touch on where I am at now and where like my next steps are, I guess. So I'm about done with my first month, and I honestly think my skin does look better than it did in the before photos. I think most of those photos were taken in like July, August. It's like mid-September when I'm filming. Actually, it's the end of September when I'm filming this video. So I think Like, I already am seeing improvements. I don't think it's getting significantly better, but it's definitely not getting worse. I have my second appointment next weekend with my dermatologist to look at my liver functions, evaluate my dosage. I don't remember what I took last time in terms of dosage. Like I said, it was like 8 years ago. I was also pretty young. Like, I just didn't retain that. I'm sure it's on my like iPledge profile somewhere. Right now I'm on a pretty low dose. I'm kind of hesitant to say how much I'm taking just because I don't want anybody to take this and go to their dermatologist and say like, I want this milligrams because it worked for me. My body's different than yours. I've already taken it, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know how the dosages work and why they prescribe certain people certain amounts. Right now I'm on a pretty low dose, but it's also my first month. They might kick it up. So that's part of the reason that I'm going as well, is to just get further clarity on that. Realistically, I'm going to need laser on my skin when I'm done. You have to wait like 6 months after you're done, I think, just because I have so much scarring. Like, all of this right now, except for like a couple up here, this is all just scarring from other acne that I've had, and I'm hoping that that will fade with time, because every time I get a new breakout, I pick it, which is horrible. I know it's horrible. Honestly, don't even leave a comment because I know it's bad. And that just like flares up the rest of my scarring. So I'm hoping that I can just like kind of break that habit once things calm down and it won't be as bad. If any of you have taken Accutane and feel comfortable sharing your dosage, and if you drank on it, please feel free to DM me. I am definitely going to talk to my dermatologist more about that, because I just really have no concept. Right now I've basically just cut out drinking entirely. I think I've had 1 beer since I started like a month ago. But I feel like if my liver can like handle senior spring of college, it can probably handle getting mildly drunk 1 night a month, but I just don't know. So if you have any experience, and again, I know everybody's a little bit different, but if you're comfortable sharing that, I would love to know. If I didn't address anything in this video that you want to know, feel free to leave it in the comment section. You can DM me on Instagram. I'm not planning on making a full update video until probably the 3-month mark, because that will hopefully be the halfway point in my journey. But I probably will be addressing it like shortly or quickly in my week in my life videos and just other stuff on my channel. You'll see my skin hopefully start to improve throughout the next couple months. So subscribe if you want to just like follow along this journey with me. Again, feel free to DM me if you have any questions or anything like that. I know that this was such a long and rambly video, so I really appreciated it if you're still watching. Thank you guys for the support as always. I feel so lucky to have this little community like helping guide me through this post-grad transition. And I know a lot of you are in the same boat. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys next time.